David Lampson. I'm here with Jordan Cordova. We are the JD Fantasy Football Podcast. What's going on, Jordan? How are you recovering from this last week?
Oh man, it's pretty tough. Pretty tough. Skip called my team out at the beginning of the year. So there was one date that I had marked for the whole season.
Yeah,
And Debo Samuels gave me 3 points. And Tucker Kraft ends up getting a 66-yarder for an additional 11 points. And I lose by like 10. So it
that's
hurt.
brutal.
It hurt. I'm still recovering. But good start of the week from Thursday. So
Yeah, I feel like the league's been really competitive. We are JD Fantasy Football Podcast. What we do is we talk about our league, but we also talk about all the matchups and all the players that are interested in the league. You will find it useful for your league. And then after we get done talking about just the sports in general, the league in general, we open it up for questions. We're happy to answer any questions you have about your league, decisions you're trying to make. So feel free to join in on the chat. But before we get into football, Jordan, I did have a quick question for you
yeah.
because we're getting closer to Halloween, and it's just getting scary,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you have my fantasy team. You keep on being projected to win every week, and you lose epically. So my question for you is: what is an irrational fear, like roaches, elevators, aliens?
Yeah, great question. So, like, the easy answer to my fear is I am afraid of heights, but it goes a little bit further to my irrational part of it. Is I'm actually like, it kind of like, it doesn't like scare me that I don't go in them, but really big rooms actually terrify me. So, like, for an example, like I was in the San Francisco airport and just going up the escalator, seeing how big like the ceiling, getting to the top of the ceiling, how big and open the room is. Don't know why. It just kind of terrifies me. Like just being in a big building, if it was open with no levels, it's one of my worst fears. I don't know why. Maybe the thought of being up there, or I can see that far up. Don't know what that's called.
Yeah, I'm trying to look that up right now. Like, there's a couple things that are close to it. Intense fear of rooms or people in rooms.
Nope.
Yeah, I was like,
Don't,
there's
don't care about people. Don't care about the rooms. Just care about how tall that room is. Weirdly enough.
wow. I've never fear of tall ceilings, alto phobia. All
Yes,
right.
sir. And we're back.
Holy
Well,
cow. It's basically the reversed fear of heights. Holy
yeah.
cow.
So I have a
Wow.
fear of heights and the reverse fear of heights.
Wow. Well, that's not
The weird
that.
thing is like I could go outside and obviously there's no roof. There's just the sky.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect me at all. But like a really tall ceiling, it I just get anxious as soon as I see it or I'm there.
Wow.
So it's not something that like I won't go in there because of it. It's just the whole time I'm there, I get super anxious if I look up at it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's even better than Cohen. Oh my God, I can't even say it. Uh, alto celerophobia. That's
Yeah.
tough. That's a tough
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, just can't stand it. So
Wow.
there's a rational for you. I can even explain why.
Wow. That's crazy. I've never heard of that. That's a new one for me.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I have a big one. I am terrified of Sasquatch. Like it doesn't make a
That's
damn bit of sense. But I think like when I was young, my uncles made me watch like a Sasquatch like fake documentary, a mockumentary, and yeah, I ever since then I've just been like I'll be in the woods camping. I'm not worried about bears, wolves, like Sasquatch coming around the
Sasquatch.
corner.
That's the one. That's the
Like
one that I'm fearing for coming around the
it's
corner.
a real fear, man. My head totally it doesn't make any sense, but I definitely have a fear of Sasquatch. So yeah,
Okay.
Maybe after this
reasonable.
year, he'll be afraid of fantasy football the way this is going. All
Yeah.
right, go ahead, man. Go ahead and knock out those injuries for us. Injury report.
All right, injury report. So, first injury that's on the list, Ramondre Stevenson, who Josh does have in as his flex position, is officially out for this week. Some other big ones. Nico Collins has been sent to the IR on a hamstring. I kind of saw that coming because of the fact that it was a non-contact injury. It was just him running into the end zone and then straight to the locker room.
Yeah.
Kind of made me feel that it was going to be more than just like a week basis. IR, it's a lot. Who knows? Even if that's just 4 weeks, you're just mandatory 4 weeks that you can. So Brian Robinson Jr. has not practiced all week. So could be a big game for Austin Eckler if he doesn't show up or suit up. Outside of that, we have it looks like Joe Mixon is playing this week, is expected to play this week. It's been a little bit, so it's good to have him kind of back in that lineup. Michael Pittman Jr. Yeah, he has been somehow there's talk this week that he might go on the IR because of his back, and then 2 days later he's might suit up. So who knows what's going on with Michael Pittman Jr.'s injury. So but some other notable ones that are kind of coming up here. It looks like Devon Achane is questionable, but it doesn't look like he'll return. So it looks like Devon Achane is also out this week, they're saying. Sorry, he's actually, I think he's on a bye. He's on a bye this week. So TJ Hawkinson, though, big talk that they have a bye next week. And then after that, he does have a good shot to start. They're not saying he is going to start, but he potentially can start after their bye week, which would be pretty cool to have him back in the league. He's a tight end you kind of forget about now that we're 6 weeks deep into this fantasy league. Jonathan Taylor's out again. They still haven't talked about him going on to the IR. So he's just not going to play on a second straight contest here. Outside, let's see here. I don't think we have anyone else outside of that. Jordan Mason did hurt his shoulder on this last game. Don't know how long he's going to be out for. We'll kind of see. Keep you in tune with that. But Cooper Kupp on his bye week this week should be expected to play next week. And Devontae Adams is still out with a hamstring injury this week. But I did read something that Pierce said that he doesn't expect Devontae Adams to be traded.
Oh.
He says he's a Raider, and they had a really good talk, and that he will be playing and suiting up as soon as he's 100% healthy, ready for that. I don't know how much true that has in it. I think that's the ownership's and Devontae Adams talk, not the coach, but it sounds like he might not be. It's not a guarantee thing that he's going to be traded, so he could be there. O'Connell starting this week as well. Some big names, a big name that nobody actually has him, but could affect some players in there. Derek Carr, something with his oblique is injured. He'll be out a few weeks. So the OU rookie coming to play. So we'll see, really get to see what he does, but that could really affect the Chris Olaves and the Shaheeds and even maybe Alvin Kamara, because you might stock that box a little bit more if you know that guy can't throw it accurately down that field. So, and then Rachaad White, foot injury, doubtful to play, probably won't play. Sorry, Cam. I feel bad about that.
These mid-season trades,
yeah,
can be tough.
Yeah, speaking of, Caleb, we finally did it. We finally made a trade. Oh, Neighbors. Yeah, I am so sorry about that. Neighbors, a big one. Still in concussion protocol. 2 weeks later, had 10 days before last week's game and another 7. We're going on 18 days of concussion protocols there. So crazy that he is not playing. I thought for sure I thought he would be back last week, for sure this week, but he is young. That Giants team is not very good. So no sense of rushing him back to have a Tua experience.
Mm.
So, but I do want to announce, Caleb, for everyone who saw it, the trade did happen. We've been talking about it. We've even been talking on this podcast that me and Caleb were going to try to make a trade here. I finally got a trade. We finally got a trade down. Garrett Wilson, Brian Thomas from me, and I got Drake London and Cortland Sutton. So I think it's an even trade for the both of us. He's been trying to get Brian Thomas off me for a while. Godspeed, sir. Enjoy your new toys. I'm going to enjoy mine. So I think it was a pretty even trade for the both of us on that one.
Yeah, Caleb will get some depth, and you'll get Drake London.
Yeah, I'm happy about Drake London. I'm super stoked about it. And it's good to see Brian Thomas could get onto somebody's lineup here. He's been just sitting on my bench all year long, and like I said, I tried to think about playing him every week, and then I'm like, well, Garrett Wilson's projected for 17, and I have Godwin's projected for 17, Debo's projected for 17. I don't know. I don't see when I would be able to use him, but getting rid of Garrett Wilson and picking up Drake London, that's instantly someone I can set it, forget it, and always have on my team playing, and I don't have to worry about how to fit in Brian Thomas or if he gets that 31 point. I got rid of both of my 31 points from 2 weeks ago. Brian Thomas is gone. Darnell Mooney is gone.
Okay.
So, all right. So I think we have Boom this week, right? Boom Bus.
Yep.
I'll start off with my Boom. I actually, weirdly enough, my Boom and Bus are both in the exact same game against each other, but we'll save the Bus for a little bit later. My Boom is DeAndre Swift. Dude is averaging 26 points a game in the last 2 games. He had a slow start the first 3 weeks, but has been coming out strong, showing who the DeAndre Swift that we knew from the Lions, man. That is crazy. He's been doing so well, but super happy that he's doing good. I like DeAndre Swift. And honestly, he plays Jacksonville this week. So I don't see him slowing down for Jacksonville. Doesn't seem like anybody's slowing down for Jacksonville. So I don't see why DeAndre Swift, I think DeAndre Swift's having a big part of Caleb Williams progressing and getting those yards, being able to play some of that play action and stuff like that. So I see them consistently starting to use them. If we could just get Johnson to stop scoring the 2-yard touchdowns and give those to DeAndre Swift, that dude would be in the 30s every week. So that is my Boom.
Okay. Yeah, my Boom is someone that I didn't even know their name last week when we were doing the podcast. His name is Tyrone Tracy Jr.
Yes, sir.
And, he had himself a day. I was like, I don't even know who that is. 130 yards last week. And the Bengals give up rush yards like Uncle Rico Dynamite. So he should be looking, she should be looking good to improve on his 22% tackle breaking rate, which is crazy. He's just breaking tackles like a demon. I didn't even know who he was. And Singletary, I guess he might play, but Tyrone Tracy's ready to go. That's what I see.
think Tyrone Tracy has carved himself a position here. I think whether Singletary comes back, there's going to be a lot more touches for Tracy for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Bust. You want to start with your bust?
Yeah, I'll go with mine just in case we have the same one. My bust is Brandon Ayuk.
Nope, not the same one. Okay.
Ayuk he's had 41 targets, which is pretty good. 23 receptions. Horrible. And the longest one he's had is 5 yards. Get out of here. Lots of GMs are glad that they didn't trade for him before the season. The 49ers, they've lost that war for this year. They're going to have to pay him $47 million by, I think it's March something. So, and in September, he was down to his underwear on the practice field. So it's not going well for Brandon Ayuk, nor his fantasy owners, nor the 49ers. So he is my bust. After all that trade talk, all that smack talk during the offseason, to perform like this is ridiculous. He continues to look bad, even when guys were out and injured. So he's done.
Yeah, I think he had a one boom week last week. Outside of that, though, of course, the 1 week I play against him and I have Debo Samuel. So that's the week that Brock Purdy decided to target him.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go Debo Samuels. Yeah, let's go. Brandon Ayuk can just kind of get to the sideline there. All right. No, my bust is the running back for the team that's playing the Chicago Bears, and that would be Travis Etienne Jr. He hasn't gotten over 13 touches in the backfield in any game this week. The most he's had is 13. Now, mind you, he has had touches as far as receptions and stuff, but the biggest game he had was, I think, 40 yards last week, and it took him 6 receptions to get there, and he ended up with 11 touches. With 6 receptions, there's no reason you shouldn't only score 12 points in the week. And that is what he got to with those 6 receptions. So Tank Bigsby is looking like the better running back right now in that team. That is 1-4. And at what point, if Tank Bigsby continues to look so well, do you not say, I understand Etienne's the guy, we paying him some money, but what the hell? Why not give this Tank Bigsby guy the starting role and see if we can start winning some games here? So I'm in fear for him to become the starter, but it's definitely touches every game are getting less and less for Travis Etienne.
Wow. What a bust.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's my take. Let's go.
All right. Well, let's get into matchups for this week. Let's start off with me and Taylor. I'll kind of talk about Taylor's team a little bit. Taylor's team, he's played. What's his record? What's Taylor's record?
2-3.
Okay, so I can gain some ground on that sucker.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, but he's got a decent team. CJ Stroud, Bijan Robinson, Terry McLaurin, Tank Dell, Isaiah, David Montgomery, and I was kind of looking down. I think he's starting the right people. I did a few comparisons of different players, and I think he's playing the right players this week. It's just not going to be enough. Mason got hurt, so Mason was on a tear. And but the player that scares me this week is Terry McLaurin. He's averaged 13 points a game in our league. He's getting targeted. He averages 7 targets a game, and he's projected to get 17 against Baltimore. Baltimore is giving up 11.8 yards per reception. They are 30th in the league. And Scary Terry, they're going to go after him, but it won't matter. It just seems like he's going to have a big week and hurt me.
Yeah, well, this ain't Ray Lewis Baltimore defense no more over there. That's a shitty defense over there.
Yeah. Yeah, and he had to choose between Olave and Tank Dell, and he went with Tank Dell, and I think that was the right choice for this week.
Yeah, especially with Nico Collins out. Tank Dell, I think, instantly becomes a top 20, 25 receiver as far as within the league.
And Spencer Rattler instead of David Carr. It's
yeah. Chris Olave has been disappointing for some of the season anyway. So yeah, tough go at it right now. Okay, well, I got you, Dave. Starting this week, well, I first want to talk about Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins going against Carolina. So anytime you're going against Carolina Panthers, I think that defense, I think your stock automatically goes up. Can he get another 500-yard game? Caleb, I hope for your grand finale he does, and Drake London gets that 120 just to make me feel better about this whole trade thing and come on over to the dark side. But Kirk Cousins, what a great pickup you've had to stream. You were playing with Aaron Rodgers, and that hasn't panned out. So Kirk Cousins and he's starting to get more comfortable. He's starting to trust that back foot. His accuracy's coming back. I think he's going to be pretty good for the remainder of the year. The only hard thing with Kirk Cousins is he does have to throw 3-4 tutties in order to make it really worth it, because he's not a running quarterback, right? So he's not going to get that yardage on the ground to get the extra points there. But I mean, dude's got weapons on weapons on weapons on weapons that he can just toss to. Ray McLeod is even, like the third guy down on that fourth guy down on there, and still is a killer. So I think he was a great one. You have Alvin Kamara, Jerome Ford, CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison's the one that I wanted to talk about. Which one are you getting this week? Which one's coming? The guy is getting like 25 to 28% target share still. So it's not that he's not getting the targets that he should be getting. The problem is that Arizona offense passing game hasn't looked great. He's playing Green Bay, which there is a chance if Alexander does play this game, he could be shadowed. So could be a tough game for him this week as well. But I mean, he's Marvin Harrison Jr. As we saw, week 2, dude could pop off for 30 points out of nowhere just because he does have the talent. It's just depending on if they're getting it over to him at that point. So Jake Ferguson, love it. Calvin Ridley, Bengals D, and Jake Bates. All teams, if you're asking me who's winning this week, Dave, I've chosen you the last 2 weeks and gone 0-4, but I think you're going to win it this week. I'm going back in. I'm on the Titan train.
Yeah, I'm picking Taylor just to put the hex on him.
I love it. I mean, Taylor's got Travis Kelce on bye, and he is playing. Tank Dell is a good one. I don't know. I don't love it. Isaiah Likely. Jordan Mason getting 9 points. I don't know. It's going to be a tough week for him. I think you got it this week. But I'm sure my record wasn't great last week of projecting. So
yeah, thanks, Jordan. Appreciate that.
I'm probably 2 for 6. That's about where my range is.
All righty. Let's take the next one on my list is you versus your wife, Jordan.
Yeah, tough break for her.
I mean, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Just to lead off here, New Orleans likes to play a lot of man defense, and they give up right now 250 passing yards per game, and that's 26th in the league. So that means Chris Godwin is going to be feasting on jumbo shrimp this week, baby. Look for him to add to his 8 targets per game as Tampa Bay lights it up in a shootout. I expect some sort of shootout or a blowout in Tampa Bay's favor. And then, you know what? He gets on the board for the first time this year. No touchdowns for Chris Godwin yet, right?
No, he's got touchdowns. I think he's got 2 this year.
Okay.
If I'm pretty sure. He's got 3 tutties this year.
And then Saquon Barkley, he's going to put the nail in the Browns' coffin this weekend. I think he'll be very happy with the results of that game. So,
yeah, love it. Yeah, and just so everyone knows, there's the infamous, I don't know if he's playing, Marshawn Lattimore always shadows Mike Evans and always wins that battle. So I can see Chris Godwin getting a few more of those attempts to him his way. Talking about my wife here, first thing I wanted to do, I do want to bring some light to her team because poor girl has been ravaged with injuries, with Christian McCaffrey out, Malik Neighbors now being out for 2 weeks, just hard injuries, and she's still pulling off a 3-2 record. So it's impressive to keep pushing there. But to start off, Dak Prescott's been having a pretty consistent year. He's not going off for 30 points or anything like that. But 28, 20, and 16 against a hard Pittsburgh defense last week. So Dak Prescott has been pretty good and been doing well. He's quarterback 8 for the year. So I just wanted to give a shout out to that Dak Prescott play there. But my other one is Malik Neighbors being out and how fortunate it is. He has been nothing but consistent for her all year long when he's playing. He had one dud week with 11 points on week 1 and then 30, 28, 25. Dude has just been getting targeted, 18 targets, 12 targets, 15 targets. Hard one to have out. Hard to win a week when you have a player like that out, including your number 1 draft pick, Christian McCaffrey here. So, but she's one who does have TJ Hawkinson, so she could get some points from him when he comes back. I think she has a promising year coming up if Christian McCaffrey can get healthy, Malik Neighbors can get healthy, and TJ Hawkinson. So,
okay.
But I'm taking me this week. Sorry, baby.
Yeah, I got you too, Jay. That's a tough mountain to climb right there.
Yeah. Hey, I was projected for 138 this week. So crazy. Jaden Daniels is playing Baltimore. Saquon's playing Cleveland. Just good matchups this week for me.
Yeah. Okay, that was a pretty solid Lattimore take. Let's see. Next one we got Ben versus Daniel here. What's your take on Ben, man?
On Ben, so Jonathan Taylor's injury is brutal.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. This is the second week out. He's had to play Najee Harris, which we thought against this, as a Cowboys fan, crappy Cowboys run defense, that he would just kind of explode a little bit with, especially with Jalen Warren out and Cordarrelle Patterson out. And he ends up scoring 9.7 points, 3-yard average. He did get some catches, and he has been recently, but he's just not been there. I mean, he is running back 30 of this year, so hard that you have to play him. And then the other one for me is going to be George Pickens. Good big surprise. We talked about him last week a little bit, but George Pickens, after being the number one guy once again, playing a Cowboys defense, which don't get me wrong, it was a little bit tougher defense than what they expected, but George Pickens gets like 8 points. I mean, when does he explode? When does he get out there? When does he, right? You see Drake London out there getting his targets, getting his yardage, getting touchdowns, everything like that. That's what George Pickens needs to be for the Steelers team, and he's just not showing up. On top of that, I'm not sure if you saw the last play of the game, grabbing one of our defensive players' face mask and throwing him down. Just poor sportsmanship, getting fined for stuff that he has written on his black tape on it underneath his face mask. Just not a good look for him, but hey, I do like Ladd McConkey if Justin Herbert starts playing. So I'm going to take on this one as well. Finkel Einhorn. I think he's already started off with a great week. Has probably the best tight end and most consistent tight end as of right now in George Kittle.
I think he is the top tight end. And Daniel also has 29 points on his bench from Brock Purdy, but I don't think it's going to hurt him because there is a wealth of riches with this Bengals game for him this weekend. Jamar Chase has been a touchdown machine. He shares the top of the league with 5 touchdowns with Mike Evans, and he's got 7 catches of 20 yards or greater. So not only he's stretching the field, which means he's beating the DB, basically. He's winning at the line, and he's beating double coverage a lot of the time. And the Giants just don't defend the pass well. Joe Burrow, they've protected him pretty well this year. He's kind of middle of the road with 11 sacks. Deshaun's been sacked 26 times already. So that Joe Burrow's been better protected. And he leads the league with 12 passing TDs and only 2 picks. So, I mean, how on earth does the Bengals season feel hopeless with these guys performing like this? But yeah, I think Daniel's he's gonna have a good week with those two, and he's not gonna worry about that Brock Purdy 29 on his bench.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Burrow gets 29 this week.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we're both in agreement on this one, I think. Yeah, Joe Mixon is back. What a pick! What a way to get back against New England Patriots. Got to go against Mr. Duck, but that's about it.
Mr. Duck's on the Dolphins, isn't he?
Ah, dang. Yeah, it was the Dolphins. You're right.
I never saw his jersey. I'll have to look for it this weekend.
Yeah, well, they're on bye, so we're going to have to wait for another week to see Mr. Duck.
Probably a good week for Florida to have a bye week.
Yeah, that's the truth.
All right, so the next matchup we've got is Caleb versus Cameron. This one's going to be a tight one, and I was looking at Cam's team. I'm loving Brock Bowers. He is not going to win a hairline contest.
No.
But he's one of the best pass catching tight ends in the NFL. He's getting 7 targets a game. He's got 5 plays of 20 plus yards, and he even has a 12-yard rush. Brock Bowers is awesome, and I love him against the Steelers. I think he could do pretty well. And Cam's also playing Justin Fields. Justin Fields is trending in the right direction. He's just on a really hot seat right now. That is one of the
Yeah.
hottest quarterback seats. He's got Mr. Prima Donna sitting right behind him, finally getting healthy. But he's got 8 total touchdowns. He only has 1 pick. He's been a good game manager for the Steelers. But he's just only had 1 game over 13 points in our league. So Cam's going to need a lot more out of Justin this week.
Yeah. And then for Caleb's team, I swear, Caleb, I put this together before our trade even went through. So Drake London is showing that he can be the guy on this team. He has really stepped it up. I mean, although Darnell Mooney has taken a lot of stuff, last 2 weeks he's averaging 12.5 targets per game. He's been putting, even though the week before he only got 6 against New Orleans, which is a tough team to play. He's the quarter or wide receiver 9. He's just been really consistent since week 1. And it seems like Kirk Cousins is looking for him often to get those touches. And it's not just big plays, right? It's touching it in the middle of the field and everything like that. So Michael Pittman Jr. was another one I wanted to talk about here. Man, you just don't know with that back problem right now. Could he be in? Could he not? Is he going on IR? Is he not? Anthony Richardson's playing this week. I don't know how many more games we have to watch of Anthony Richardson before they finally decide that, hey, maybe Joe Flacco is our future because that team ran way smoother. Joe Flacco. Michael Pittman Jr. last week had the best week he's had the week before, but even last week still had 8 targets and a touchdown. 19 points the week before when Joe Flacco came in. I'm really hoping that Anthony Richardson can get that connection with Michael Pittman Jr., but it's going to be kind of scary with Anthony Richardson back out there. So that's one I'm kind of keeping my eye out up for, and one that I believe could, for the better or for the worst, for Caleb here. I got to throw Cam a bone here, though. Caleb, no offense. Thank you for the trade, but I'm going to vote for Cammy Lammy to get his first win of the season this year. It's got to happen. Austin Eckler going to be going off.
Well, I've got, I'll take Cam in this one. I'm sorry. I have Caleb. I wrote Caleb down. I'll take Caleb.
Washington defense is not great. So,
but I really do think it's a toss-up. I think that's just going to be who's going to boom, who's going to bust.
Yeah, and I think Caleb's team's really going to start popping off again once Tyreek Hill can fully be exposed or be used when Tua gets back into the mix here. You would vote, yeah. Sorry, Caleb. I apologize.
That's funny. All right, go ahead and talk about the Bears. We got the Bears versus Holmes this week.
Yeah, so the Bears, I wanted to talk about 2 things here. Kenneth Walker is a dog. We talked about it last week. That guy just somehow figures it out. I think he only ended up with 32 yards of rushing and still put 20 points down. Ends up with 7 receptions the week before. They're throwing. That's the guy that runs through. Everyone thinks it's DK Metcalf. Kenneth Walker is the whole reason these guys are going. Geno Smith is throwing 52 times in a game. He's got the most attempts. So, of course, he's going to dump a lot of those off over to Kenneth Walker. I don't see him slowing down anytime soon. Also, with this week, I wanted to talk about A.J. Brown being back in the best way for him, because Nico Collins goes on IR and then A.J. Brown comes off of injury. So could have been a rough week for him, but A.J. Brown coming back. Guy only put 30 points up on week 1 before he got injured. So that is a big turning point for him either way. And then it's a pretty smart move. He's playing Keenan Allen this week, but pretty smart move not to play Devin Singletary for the reason that it's a Sunday night football game, don't take the chance, take the automatic points, because that giant Cincy team, there's not a lot out in that free agency for you to try to slip something in before the game starts on Sunday night. So
Okay. Well, on Mahomes burned my rice. The guy that stood out to me was T. Higgins. He's back, and Joe Burrow loves him. 3 games, 30 targets, 2 touchdowns. He is going to feed on that giant secondary as well. And the other person on his team is Jalen Hurts. What is going on with Jalen Hurts? He has 4 passing TDs, 4 interceptions. Is this the new norm for Jalen Hurts? Is he just not good? His pocket's been pretty clean. He's rushing for about 40 yards a game, which is kind of what you expect for a good rushing quarterback. That's what the good ones get. He's got 2 rushing TDs, and tush push isn't what it was. But they're scoring. They're only getting 21 and a half points a game. They're 18th in the league in points. And Cleveland is not the defense you want to get going against. So Mahomes is going to have a tough week with Jalen Hurts, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Jalen Hurts hasn't looked. It's weird what happens when Kelsey retires and the tush push doesn't work like it used to. Or you have a beast in the backfield like Saquon Barkley. I'm a little biased, but when you have a beast like that who can really punch it in for you.
But he's still getting 40 yards of rushing a week, even with Saquon there. He's such a threat. But that's just average. He's looked very much like a game manager, and that's not what they've paid him to do. So
no, been very pedestrian this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking the Bears on this one this week.
Yeah, I already wrote us both down for the Bears. There's no way you can. I already wrote it down.
I'm hoping that he goes 104 and I can hit 154 so I can catch him in the points, though.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see that happening. Yeah. All right, the last one, I've got Skip. Skip's got an interesting situation because he's got Chase Brown.
Yeah.
So he's splitting carries with Zach Moss, but his share of those carries seem to be growing. Both, I mean, they're almost the same running back. They can both catch. But like Brown seems to be getting more and more carries. They're both banged up this week, but they're both expected to play. But fortunately, they're up against the Giants. The Giants give up 5 yards per carry. They're 30th in the NFL against it. And New York blitzes on 32% of its snaps. So that's going to lead to some screens to slow down the pass rush. And that's going to be both of those guys out catching passes. Load sharing is not really going to be an issue. I think Skip will get some points there. And then, come on, baby. Can Tucker Kraft do it again? Come on, Tucker. Man, seeing that giant of a man just barrel down the sideline in that green and gold, baby. I love it. And that game, the over-under for the Packers game is 47.5. So they do expect them to score some points, both teams. Just keep feeding that big man. He's had 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Let's do it. So yeah, I got Skip in this one.
Nice. Yeah, so I have Josh on this. If there's ever a week to take Josh out right now, it's this week. I think
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson's on bye. Ramondre Stevenson is out, which means that he's going to have to play DeAndre Hopkins or Gabe Davis, which I don't like either of those options, to be honest with you. So I think that this will be the week that you take him out. I did want to talk about Jahmyr Gibbs, though. Even in a split backfield, that guy shows that he's a reliable running back. He shows that he is going to play really well. And I think that Jahmyr Gibbs can always be potential. If David Montgomery ever gets hurt, Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 3 running back week in, week out. So I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a good point there. And then obviously we talked about it earlier. DeAndre Swift, I think, is my boom for the week. So I think he's going to be a big part of this. I want to take Skip because I want to see this 5-0 guy go down, but I just, in my hearts of hearts, can't see it happening. I think Josh takes this one and goes up to 6-0.
Okay. Yeah, I can totally see that happening.
But should be good games. There's a lot of good games going around here this week. So excited for the week to come. But yeah, so we have, what was our, do you know what our record was last week?
No.
I don't think I was very good. I'll go ahead and say I think I was like 2-6 last week.
Let's see, because let's see here.
Skip is pretty upset with me.
Let's see. Let's look at week 5. Let's see. So the Bears beat me. We both had me. So that's we both had your wife. And she got beat.
Not starting off well. I'm sure I took myself.
Cam lost. We both had Cam. Let's see here. We both had Caleb. He won.
Okay, Caleb, way to come through for us there.
And then Taylor. So Jordan, you had Taylor. He lost, and I had Mahomes.
So you went 2 for 6, and I went 1 for 6. Is that what I'm starting to get?
Yeah, I went 2 for 6. So that makes me, I'm 7 for 18, and you were 5 for 18.
5 for 18. Yeah,
Man, I'm running away with this. Our differences this week, though, I've got Cam. So you've got Cam, I've got Caleb, and I've got Skip, and you have Josh. And then I have Taylor, and you have me. So yeah, we should see some. All right. So I had a quick question for you, Jordan. I've got a decision to make for this week for my team. So I've got Calvin Ridley. Tennessee faces off against Indianapolis. And then on my bench, I've got Amari Cooper, who plays up against Philadelphia. They are both projected to get 12 points. Who should I start?
Don't love either of them. But to be honest with you, I don't like Deshaun Watson, but Will Levis is now becoming a noun of your Will Levising things because that's how bad he has been playing this year. Calvin Ridley the last 2 weeks had 3 targets on each week in the last 2 weeks, not trending in the right direction. But Amari Cooper has had 10 targets last week, 8 targets the week before, and 12 targets the week before. He hasn't had a week where he has had less than 8 targets. Has he converted those into anything great? No, but I'm always probably going to lean on the side of the guy who has potential to get those points any given week. I don't think Philly's backfield, or I don't think Philly's corners are anything special. The same with the Indianapolis, but I think Amari Cooper, if you're asking me, I think Amari Cooper is absolutely the one that you start this week, only for the mere fact that I think that he does get 8 targets a game right now, averaging 8 targets a game right now or more. So I think he has the most potential to get that, where Calvin Ridley is going to really depend on a touchdown in order for him to kind of pay off for you.
Okay. So let me throw in a wrinkle. I just picked up Ray McLeod today. They going up against Carolina. Should I throw in Ray?
Oh, buddy, Ray against Carolina. Dang, that's hard. So Ray, I would actually say he has a better way of getting there. He's had both two sorry, let me restart there. 2 6-reception games the last 2 weeks, and a 7-target and a 9-target. I still would probably lean on Amari Cooper's side, but I mean, he's averaging up there in like 8-9 targets or 9-10 targets a game. So I would probably target that. If he was playing a harder defense, I would probably say to go with Ray McLeod. But I think there's so much love to be spread around in Atlanta with Drake London and Darnell Mooney and Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson. Amari Cooper's pretty much it over there. Jerry Jeudy's nothing. So
I'm not going to lie to you. I really did think that you said I stink a second ago. Let's see here. So for you, I mean, your decisions on your team, just looking down at you, yours are pretty much made for this week. I don't think you had any difficult decisions. Connor has been a dog for you. Barkley's going to be great. McBride, Godwin, Garrett Wilson. You've been trying to get rid of him, but he's kind of been trade bait, and he's still good. I think this was an easy week for you as far as decisions.
Yeah, easy week for me as far as decisions. I think a lot of people are going to question my trade with Caleb getting rid of Garrett Wilson and Brian Thomas for Drake London and Courtland Sutton. I'm really buying in on the Drake London train. It's not that I don't think Garrett Wilson is a big play and a good player. I mean, 23 targets last week is nothing to sneeze at. It's probably one of the higher targets I've seen any receiver ever get. But he's averaging about 5 yards per catch right now where he's catching it. So I don't know. I'm taking the gamble. I trust Drake London more than I trust Garrett Wilson. So Garrett Wilson at one point was borderline. I was going to sit him for Brian Thomas Jr. So I just don't want that on my hands. I trust that I'm giving a good Brian Thomas to him, even though I was getting Courtland Sutton, but I'm trusting in my starting lineup, and I think I'm deep enough in my receiving core that even on bye weeks, I will have stuff to kind of cover up or push me through that finish line there. So, but yeah, this week was not a tough choice for me. I think the toughest choice was how do I play Brian Thomas, which is going to be the toughest choice all year long. One of the reasons I wanted to get rid of him because it's something that I'm going to have to just try to decide all year long, which one's the better choice. And I'm always going to beat myself up, not playing one or the other when they score high.
Okay. So last question for you, Christian McCaffrey. When is he going to stop making commercials and get out onto the field?
Yeah. So, I mean, he's week to week. It doesn't look like he's returning to practice next week either, which is kind of, he's going to miss at least one more game, right? So, but yeah, it's really it's a mystery to me. I don't know. He's supposed to play week 1, then he's on the IR. He has Achilles tendonitis on one leg, and then he comes back and he's got him on both legs. And now he's back here. He's supposed to ramp up on practice this week. Now he's not even practicing next week. I don't know. I don't think San Francisco knows what's going on here or when he's going to play. He's definitely not going to be back next week. So we have another week to kind of figure it out, but yeah, man, I don't know when he's coming back. And, but he's going to be a game changer, right? Like a lot of these teams not in this league specifically, I think this league will be with it, but a lot of teams that are around the fantasy world turns from this is a rough team to man, this team is actually going to be pretty good. If he comes out, week 9, week 10, and you're able to get yourself 4 or 5 victories, and you're still in the hunt there, I think he can definitely be a game changer going into the playoff seasons and stuff like that. And a scary team to have to face if they have Christian McCaffrey rolling.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's what I got. Appreciate everyone joining in the chat. We'll end the um, this will be what's on Spotify for the podcast for this week. What we've talked about, and yeah,
Absolutely. No, this has been a blast and appreciate everyone who's come out. Please, if you see our YouTube, please subscribe onto our YouTube, join our TikTok. We have all of some of our clips kind of jumping onto there. Get us on Spotify. We're trying to make ourselves available in all places we can. Ask questions on those Spotify or on those TikTok videos. We're more than happy to answer any of those questions along the week, so we can kind of get that going. But really appreciate everyone who listens and kind of comes out. Maybe we stay on for another 5-10 minutes to see if anyone has any additional questions here. But yeah, this has been fun.
let's see here.
It will be interesting to see how this trade works out for weeks down the road. Garrett Wilson could just come and bite me in the butt. Turns out he's like the wide receiver 1 in the league. And then Drake London kind of cools down if Kirk Cousins cools down. But I think it's a fun one. I'm happy to make the trade. Happy to get Drake London. I've been trying to get rid of Garrett Wilson off my team for a while now. Not that I think that he's bad. I just am impatient and don't want to wait for the process to go through. So I've been trying to get something like that. The Pittman status is kind of odd. Yeah, it's weird. I think it was yesterday I read that he might be on the IR for back injury. And then I see today that he might play this year or this week. So who knows what the hell's going on? And, the receiver position is not a position that your back is something that you're not taking hits off of. So kind of weird. The Pittman status is just kind of weird. I don't know what it's going to be. So yeah. Hopefully we have 2 old men here. Old man Rodgers could get hurt, or old man Kirk Cousins could get hurt, tear an Achilles. So they're both coming off pretty much the same injury from last year. So we'll see which one can hold tough. It looks like Kirk Cousins so far has come back quicker, but Aaron Rodgers is an MVP and a Super Bowl winner. So you can never really count him out if he gets hot and gets rolling. What do you think, Dave? You're a Rodgers guy.
Yeah,
you've known him. You've voted for him for many years.
I did vote for him for president this year. That hasn't panned out, but yeah, Aaron Rodgers, not a great life advice human, but he can throw that football. What my favorite storyline this week, or I guess it was this week, right before the firing, was about his snap count. They were trying to dumb down his snap count because it was throwing off the line, and I don't think anyone has been on the side of the Jets. Everyone's like, let Aaron do what he's best at, which is throw the defense off. And a lot of people, Baker Mayfield for president. Okay.
Baker Mayfield for comeback player of the year. But sure. No, I agree. I mean, let Aaron Rodgers do what Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers has changed the play at the line, get him rolling, right? Get people to jump off sides. Aaron Rodgers has so much more to his game than just going up there and throwing the football.
Yeah, you can't pay him all that money and bring him in to ask him to be, Zach Wilson. No, you need him to bring in his experience, his talent, his greatness, and you need to get your offensive line up to snuff. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, and I don't believe for 1 second that Aaron Rodgers had a conversation after a game with the owner of the team and Robert getting fired, the head coach getting fired didn't come up in conversation. I think he's trying to play that down. It's like, I didn't have anything to say. I didn't have any say in the offseason picks. It's like, bro, Alan Lazard coming over here, you're telling me you didn't have anything to say about, all of a sudden it's like a broken up Green Bay Packer old receiving core. And
Right.
you telling me you didn't have anything to say about that? Let's be honest, bro.
Right. And for fantasy implications, nothing seems to be working on a consistent basis for the Jets. They had to make a change. And I'm sure Rodgers was at the center of a lot of those conversations because he's a competitor. He's trying to figure it out. And Nathaniel Hackett, I mean, he looks like a pile of garbage right now.
He looked like a pile of garbage on Denver. So, I mean, I haven't seen a time he hasn't looked like a hot pile of garbage.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe Hackett had a decent run in Green Bay, but I don't think he's had a good sense of what's going on in the league offensively for a while.
Right. I agree completely. And you have Breece Hall too. Didn't everyone forget that there's Breece Hall on this team? Like this guy is like last year one of the best running backs in the league, and this guy's averaging like fantasy purpose wise, he's averaging like 4 points a game in the last 2 weeks. It's freaking crazy.
And that's what really hurts Rodgers. Rodgers is a play action quarterback. He needs you to be, and they need a good running game. When Mike McCarthy was there with the Packers, he ran like 4 running backs to death to set up that play action. You know, Eddie Lacy, all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
He ran them to death just so they could get that play action, so Rodgers could keep them off. And the Jets just haven't been able to do that. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Question: Singletary or Jalen Tolbert?
What do you think, Dave? What's your opinion on that?
Tolbert, I don't even know what Tolbert's up to.
Tolbert's been playing pretty good.
I don't even know. Like I don't.
He's a Cowboy. So with Brandon Cooks out, he had 7 receptions, 87 yards, and a touchdown last week. He was the one who caught the touchdown to win the game.
Oh yeah.
But as of right now, Tyron Tracy, if Singletary is out for sure, but it's hard to say. This is going to go back to what I said previously. Singletary is Sunday night football. It's going to be really hard to determine. Well, I guess, man, you're in a different situation now that I think about it, though, because you have Tyron Tracy and Singletary. That kind of changes things up a bit. Detroit's given up a lot of offense, though. As far as like passing, they stop the run so well that they're always there's a lot of passing up against them, and they're giving up a lot of yardage there. I personally think that you probably want to go Jalen Tolbert, give him another shot this week. I think he's proven with Brandon Cooks out for a week that he's gotten 10 targets, 7 receptions, 87 yards, averaging 12.4 yards per catch that week. All year, he's averaging around 12 yards per catch. So I personally probably go with Tolbert on this one. But Singletary and Tyron Tracy's not a bad. If Tyron Tracy's, I'd rather Tracy than have Singletary. So,
what league is he in?
He is in my other league that I'm in. That's the one I have Christian McCaffrey that I've been trying to figure out.
Yeah, it looks like Tolbert popped last game.
Yeah. And he's had a few weeks, even with Brandon Cooks being the third option. He still had a few weeks where he was getting 10, 11 points. So, looks like Dak's trusting him. This is his 3rd year, I think. 3rd year in the league.
Okay. How has Dak looked for you this year? Are you happy with what Dak's looking like?
I don't know. Last week he was a little bit iffy for me, only for the fact that he threw 2 picks and lost a fumble. But he did come back when he needed to. 352 yards against a pretty hard-nosed Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Yeah.
I think he's been looking pretty decent for us. Honestly, the biggest surprise for me for Dallas last week, defensively, they looked pretty good. I thought we would get ran over by Justin Fields and Najee Harris and all that.
Yeah.
And they actually kind of tightened up without DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. There is a chance our other tight end comes or another quarterback comes back this week. So Demario Bland could be back this week.
Okay.
And we could see for the first time in 2 years, Diggs and Bland both together on the field. should be a big boost once we get Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence back. But yeah, Dak Prescott's been playing pretty well this year.
Okay. That's good. We got regular season Dak right now, doing really good.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the postseason. We all know how that goes. So. Dallas is just going to stay in it long enough to give me hope and then crush my dreams once we get into the first round. That's what they're best at.
Jordan, could our podcast get any nicer? Like, are we just too freaking nice on this podcast?
We could be mean if we want to be mean. I can be mean.
No, I'm just saying, like, I was thinking about this today. I was just thinking we're pretty nice for sports fans talking about fantasy.
We are. I mean, I do, I have said a few times that I could close my eyes and find a better quarterback to a few different people. So I wouldn't say I've been like too nice about it, but yeah, I mean, I'd say we're nice. I like to give like some great outlook. The thing is that we're usually talking about starting players on other people's teams. So yeah, I mean, are you a Chargers? Did we decide this? He's a Chargers fan?
He's a Colts fan.
Oh, even worse.
He's a Colts fan.
You guys can't figure out who your quarterback is. Joe Flacco's the best one you got. He's going to be sitting on the bench next week.
Well, I think I'm going to roll out if we don't have any more questions.
Yeah, I think so too. This has been a fun week, so I really appreciate everyone who joined us and coming on and asking your questions. Dave, appreciate you.
Check it out on Spotify, guys, and we'll get some more clips out.
Yeah. Peace.